Something happened for me 4 years ago that got me to ask a really big question. What is courage when no one is watching? Hi, I'm Kevin Holloway, the co-founder of Courageous Leaders. And since the death of my wife, my business partner, of nearly 40 years, 4 years ago, I've been working on trying to have a better understanding and looking at how I'm actually being with courage rather than just behaving. Yeah. When Mandy and I created Courageous Leaders, courage meant stepping into conversations others people avoided, culture conversations, talking about accountability, about responsibility, and naming what wasn't working in a constructive, collaborative way. Courage for us at that stage was visible, it was purposeful, but it was external. And suddenly, all things changed. When Mandy died, it wasn't about me facilitating rooms or shaping leaders. That was my work, but I had to then have a real think about myself and my life and trying to find ways and access ways of being that helped me get out of bed to stay present with grief rather than try and distract myself. I was trying to find a way, and not initially, grief is a strange beast, I guess, if you want to call it that. One of the things in one of my leadership modules is on leading change, and the grief cycle comes up. And it was interesting how it goes in a sort of undulating way. And in one of the classes after Mandy's death, I was talking to people and I said, you know what, that's not how it goes. It goes completely different to that. It's like a spirograph, if you know what a spirograph is. It's that where the squiggly lines just went everywhere. You'd be in one stage and then suddenly you're back and down or up or wherever, and it's just crazy stuff. Anyway, I've been working through all of that over the last 4 years, and that's why I've come up with this deeper question. And I've been asking this question of a lot of people too. What is courage when no one is watching? So this podcast series that I'm building, I have the intention that it's to cover all aspects of life, right from, obviously through my learnings and feedback, through my leadership programs, through coaching, but also through my internal understanding, through some of the frameworks and videos and podcasts that I've been listening to, particularly over this last 4 years. So that it'll include relational trauma, it'll include mental health conversations, it'll include leadership conversations, it'll include conversations with friends along the way, just to get a broad understanding how courage turns up for them when no one is watching. One of the things for me that has really worked is I've used the leadership frameworks and behavioral tools and everything that I've been using for a long time with our clients, and expanded on that through a habit building program that I've been using for 10 years called Actionable. I've, in the last 4 years particularly, something else turned up in my life that I hadn't heard of, an ontological tool called the Being Framework, which I was very generously offered by one of the practitioners to get to understand. I've spent 4 years working through the practitioner accreditation, through the coaching accreditations, through a mastery program, and just recently I've completed a sustainability program through them, which has changed my outlook for courage and so many different ways of being, and how I'm being with things rather than how I'm acting with things. And that's where these things have really started to anchor my continuing learning of courage and all the different ways that I'm turning up as along the way. As well as that, there's the one of the things that's really been turning up quite recently, and particularly because of the being framework, I've been looking back at values and how values is interacting in my life, and what I'm using and how I'm using those values that I want to intentionally use along the way. So that's the context behind the podcast. One of the things that I will be doing is obviously having conversations with people along the way, but in between that, I'll be digging a little deeper on my own journey in different components that I've talked about already. And one of the ones that I will start with soon is an ebook that I wrote just late last year, which was highly emotional. And let me put this in a bit of context. My wife Mandy had written an ebook years ago, which is still downloaded now, about what is courage for you. And I came to the end of last year and decided that I felt that it was time to try and put my own thoughts into what an ebook on courage could be for me. And it was to give a nod to her and all her help along the way. We obviously had a very long relationship together, and I then started putting together, and it was amazing. It was the feeling that I got initially was highly emotional, but there was this sense of relief. It was like, and I'm getting emotional right now just thinking about it. It was just like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and that helped me to set my intentions for the new year. I create a word for each of the years that are coming into, and I'll talk more about how that ebook and the way that came about for me. So these are the conversations that I will be having. One with myself, and then two with colleagues, with business partners, with friends, and people that I meet through all the different walks of life. So see you in the next podcast.